From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
Port of Miami, important to Candy. Ain't got nothing to lose. This is important to family.
Wake up! Wow, that was really high on that. I clipped, I think. That's how excited I am right now, Corey. I'm still clipping. I need to chill out or maybe turn down the knob a little bit. It's Wake Up War Chant. It's Corey Clark. I'm Aslan Hudjavandi. You already know all that. What you might not know is become a member of WarChant.com, and you can enjoy a great discount promo with Garnet and Gold. Details of all that's over on WarChant.com. Just go over there, man. Join the family already. Join the movement. We're a very benevolent association of people, friends, coworkers. Also, let's start off with, actually, Corey, just talk for a second. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. Where were you about to go?
So worst case scenario happened yesterday. By the way, JB Knowles, since you tuned out yesterday, we bared the hatchet. I went at the poor guy, and he was awfully friendly to me. And I sort of, quasi-apologized, but I just kind of, we're going to hug. We talked about it.
Good.
But some of all fears happened when I went through the whole, where's the South Florida guy on this team, Corey, that not on my watch. Not on my watch. What, Brian Burns.
Sure. But
But
whoever thinks about him.
He's from Russia. Yeah, so sorry about that, everybody. A couple people tweeted at me, and then a couple people did it.
Well, we admitted that there's a chance.
Corey did. I'm like, I got this, Corey. I'm like, chill out.
Yeah,
I'm
don't know
look at the roster. I'm going to figure it all out.
You looked at the roster and still felt good about it after looking at the roster. But you didn't get all the way to 99. I get it. That's the last guy on the roster.
Thank you. There we go.
So I guess unless you were doing it alphabetically, then it should have popped up in your brain pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's my bad. So, all right.
Brian Burns, who leads the nation in quarterback pressures with 32 on the season.
The pressure. Not the same, though, as Vanilla Ice's song, because Vanilla Ice is dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun, so it's different.
Yeah, it's completely distinctive.
Yeah. Coming up on the show today, folks, we're going to take a walk down memory lane. Gene Williams, the founder and administrator of WarChant.com, will join us to share his his favorite memories in the Miami game, what stands out to him, and also maybe give you a little bit of mental health advice that you might need for Saturday with the game coming up. A lot of people didn't like the program yesterday, Corey. Thought it was a lot of negativity. They thought a lot of damn negativity. I don't need you and your damn negativity in your lives, Aslan, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say
more pragmatic than negative. Because
why are we being so negative though? Who is Miami? I mean, Miami's played.
I'm not negative. I just if you ask me that they're going to win or lose, I think they're going to lose. I don't know if that makes me negative or it's just my opinion. You know what? I hope the whole team. And we know they do. When they're getting ready for practice, they listen to Wake Up War Chant. We know that. That's probably their alarm clock.
Willie's playing Nuck If You're Buck, and then I think usually it's like Nasir maybe sometimes or Landon's like, yo, coach, we're going to put up Wake Up War Chant.
Yeah, they uploaded it. It's on the internet now, so we need to go listen to that. So I hope they listen to this and try to prove us wrong. That's what I'm expecting. Yeah. But if you ask my opinion, I don't think they're going to win. But I'm a pessimist at heart. I'm an Atlanta sports fan. I'm always going to be a pessimist. Glass a quarter full, then it's not even half full when you're an Atlanta sports fan. There's not a drop in the
even 8 ounces in a 16-ounce glass is still not half?
No, I'm saying our glass has about 4 ounces in it.
Okay.
If it has a drop at all. If an Atlanta sports fan, it's usually just spilled.
Well, it would be 3/4 empty, right, instead of quarter full.
Yeah, what is I don't know what you would do there. If I guess a quarter full, I'm still a pessimist, aren't I? Or optimist. Yeah. So, that's a good point.
All right, so before we maybe dive into
that's good Diet Sunkiss.
That is.
Boy,
that looks really good and crisp.
Yeah.
Segment brought to you by Diet Sunkiss.
That's
Orange soda is good, man. There was a guy who used to sling barbecue here in Tallahassee on the streets. I think he might actually have a legitimate business complex or a building now. But I would always get just great, just overfill your little styrofoam little thing with barbecue, and I'd always get orange soda. That's the only time I drink orange soda, just for some reason. It's so good with the barbecue. Right.
So you say now he's got his own brick and mortar?
He did, and then he lost, and I think he might be back. He's far down West Tennessee Street. I usually don't go west of Ocala on Tennessee Street.
I always thought a good online business would be one that sold brick and mortar. It's funny, right? Yeah. Hey. I stole that from another podcast. So I don't even remember which one, but I stole it. Just know it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about practice. You were out there bright and early with us on Wednesday. Myself and Ira Schofel, our managing editor. By the way, somebody was asking if they could have just a Corey and Ira podcast.
No. I deal with that guy enough.
I want to ask you this question. Actually, we'll get to practice, I promise. Actually, let's get to practice, and I'll double back to the Ira thing. Observation-wise, I wasn't over on the defense, so I don't know how much they were talking and chirping and everything like that. Stanford Samuels was just like, we got to be ready because they're going to be talking every single play, and that's what we're going to do. So that's good. He's mentally ready. He's going to have those guys prepared. What I think I did see is, and I want to say they had a little bit of this in the Louisville week where I felt like they were working a little bit more on, just going up against air from the bat, from the jump at practice, and just lining up and running a couple plays, which sounds so rudimentary when we're talking about week 5, and now we're into week 6.
Rudimentary should be a much easier word to say.
If that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I wonder if this could be the week that we see tempo unleashed. I don't know what's been holding them back. I don't know if it's so much to the fact they're not getting stuff on first down from the run game, or if it's Willie was mentioning.
Couldn't be that. You think they'd be used to that? They know it's going to be 2nd and 9. Just put that in your
run
playbook.
Run back, hurry up.
You don't even run that far. You got a yard. You're right there at the line of scrimmage already.
Like Walt Bell, your life is so easy now, man. Just have a whole bunch of 2nd and long, 3rd and long plays scripted for Willie to go to. But I do think that they were running it at a different tempo. And usually when they would start practice, offensive line breaks out, defensive breaks out. When it comes to skill position guys, the receivers are usually stretching in one corner of the field. Running backs are in another corner, usually working on ball security stuff. And then quarterbacks, meanwhile, are usually throwing at the net, or maybe they're just taking snaps from the center. Well, they're going right from the jump, starting practice off right away. Jet sweep stuff, fakes, not fakes, not trick play stuff, but just DeAndre working on keep this one, don't keep this one. And they're going at a really fast, vigorous pace. So part of me thinks maybe, not that he's been saving this up for Miami by any stretch, because they've had no luxury at any point to sandbag things. But maybe if this run game, maybe right there at the point now where 4 yards, if they can get a 4-yard run to them, that's enough to hurry up and line back up and try to run another play and maybe get another 4 yards. And then that way you're at 3rd and 2, and then the world's your oyster. So that's kind of what I got from it. Personnel-wise, we still didn't see Landon Dickerson out there, at least I don't think in the segments that we were being able to watch practice. So that's what I took away from it. And who knows, man? And again, Miami, somebody tweeted at us and said that, guys, knock it off. The only team, who have they played, Paul? They ain't played nobody, Paul. They played LSU, and they lost convincingly to LSU. I still think going to Toledo and beating a Toledo team in Toledo, I know people are going to laugh at me, I still think that's a pretty good win. And this quarterback's better than Malik Rozier, so that has me a little bit concerned. The North Carolina game, North Carolina just kept giving them the freaking ball. Of course you're going to.
Yeah, North Carolina's not any good at all.
Yeah, so they do have a quarterback, the backup guy whose name escapes me now. When he started, when they put him in the game, he started just moving the ball down the field with his legs. I'm like, man, look at this, check it out. Maybe
FSU ain't doing that.
Well, maybe that gives DeAndre enough.
No, man, we just got to quit. We got to quit talking. He's not going to do it.
Yeah,
it's just not happening. By the way, I looked it up. So, it's just bizarre, and I don't want to keep hammering it home. But so, Cam Akers is averaging 4.1 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. If you took away the one run, and I know you can't take it away.
In this case, I think it's a valid argument because it was one. It was
one. It was in the first game. We've played 4 since then. I think his longest rush in the next 4 games has been 11 yards. But if you take away that one run, he's averaging exactly 3 yards a carry. And the offense as a whole, if you take away that one run, is averaging 2.1 yards per carry.
But if you keep that in there, they're still under 3 yards per carry.
Yes,
as a whole.
But that 85 even skews it more than. And I guess that's my. I think their longest run since then was the Francois run in Syracuse when they were down 23-0. Yeah. They just get 0 explosive plays out of the running game. Zilch, 0. Nada. A big goose egg, nothing coming. So, and then you go in there thinking, I'm not going to get negative again, folks. I'm just going to say this. If you go in there without Landon Dickerson, man, it's a tough hill, man. It's not impossible. Nobody's sitting here saying this is the 1988 Miami Hurricanes. Or the 1991 or 92, or we know
2001.
Yeah, that's probably the best one. That is the best one. In the conversation, along with 13 Florida State, probably 95 Nebraska,
and
maybe one of those USC teams.
18 Alabama right now.
As one of the best teams of all time. But it ain't that Miami. Nobody's sitting here thinking it is. When I'm saying that I don't think Florida State will win, it's just what I've seen from Florida State more than what I've seen from Miami. I know Miami's better than Louisville, and Florida State barely beat Louisville because Louisville decided to pass with 2 minutes to go. That's what gives me pause about being too excited about this game. Again, I'm looking for different things. I'm not expecting a win.
Back to the wall, desperation mode at home. Maybe plays up for that Florida State game.
Sure, man. All right.
I just think I'm going to ask Willie this at practice later if I can get a question in with him, because usually he's kind of brief on Thursdays. But a lot of that is due to the fact that for some reason nobody feels like asking him any questions on Thursday. I guess it's like you've said before. We've had him for 25, 30 minutes on Monday.
And you get the Wednesday teleconference. Yeah.
So my question is going to be, he's mentioned the whole "what for" thing not "what for." That's Jeff Cameron, Seminole Headlines trademark term. He's talked about the "want to."
Yeah.
And this is the want to game, right? I mean, this is the absolute epitome of the want to game. I mean, defense, or the offensive line rather, that hostile of an environment, they know everybody keeps talking about how they cannot run the ball. Like, this is the game. Finally go out there. This is put up or shut up time, I think. I mean, I don't want to say that, and that's so cliche. It's not their fault. They're not the ones that anteed up everything. That was, us in the media, me in the media, 10 wins. Woo!
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like if I don't know, if Dickerson and Derek Kelly are okay, I mean, we're not having to do extraordinary things to get them upright to play that game. Maybe this team just does enough. The thing is, Ira was saying on the War Chant report that just guys need to step up and make plays, which I agree with. I just don't know how above their head this team has to play overall to beat a Miami team. It just feels like if they can get a couple things to roll their way, that this game stays close in the fourth quarter, and I like the odds in that case, man. Francois has shown the ability to win games late this week, this year, and in the past. So,
well, this will be the best passing attack. This will be the best quarterback and group of receivers that Miami's played by far. Again, if they know you can't run it, though, it's going to make it harder for you. So, and they're not going to be able to run it. So, prove me wrong. I know you guys are listening to this in the weight room.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
One more rep.
2 more reps, man. You got to fire that thing up there.
Yeah.
You got to work. This is Miami week, buddy. Wake up, War Chant's coming correct. We're trying to challenge you. This is bulletin board material.
Step your rep, man. Step up.
So that's what we're trying to do here. But I am excited for the game, though. I really am. I know it doesn't sound like it. I'm excited to see how they play in an environment like that, coming off dare I say, a 2-game winning streak. It's a winning streak around here.
That is. 2 unanswered wins.
That's exactly right. Miami's going to try to answer it, but yeah, that's 2 unanswered wins for the Noles, and I want to see if they build off that Louisville game. I do want to see if they change up the offense a little bit, realizing what they saw. I mean, I know they're saying what they're saying, but if they had decided, look, we're going to be a pass-first offense, I want to throw it 45 times because running against these guys, it's not going to work. If they had decided to do that, and I'm not saying they have, or to go much quicker, they certainly wouldn't tell us. You know what I mean? So they would just show us on Saturday. So I do want to see what they took from those last 18 minutes against Louisville when they moved the ball consistently through the air. The only time they didn't move it was when they did dipsy-do, fumble-roo, maybe flip it back to 12, skippity-boppity-doo, you lose 7 yards on a crazy double reverse pass. So when they didn't do that, they moved the ball up and down the field, mainly through the air. So we'll see if they continue to try to stay balanced or if they say, you know what, I know Francois might be running for his life, but we're going to air it out like we're Texas Tech, baby.
Just give the ball to 15. Hey, Corey, guess what? It's Thursday. You know what that means, right?
I do. Cosby. Oh, no, it's not the 1980s. By the way, you can't even make Cosby joke. Not that I mean, the guy's a criminal and a monster, turns out. But man, that show, and you wouldn't know. You're a little younger than me.
Which Cosby Show, man?
But man, what a phenomenon that thing was in the mid 1980s.
Cliff Huxtable helped rear me a little bit, but actually, the sound that you're hearing, it's the horse sound. It's Renegade Express. But before that, we'll talk a little bit more about Miami. We'll relive some of the good times, and we'll be right back after this. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're listening to Wake Up War Chant, all Noles, every day. Now back to Corey and Aslan.
Welcome back, folks, to Wake Up War Chant. Wake up! I'm Aslan. You know Corey's here, obviously. And as stated, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Gene Williams, the founder and administrator of WarChant.com, joining us here on the program. Gene, thanks for being here, man. It's Miami week. How stoked are you?
Oh, yeah, it's Miami week. Definitely stoked for this one. I don't know. How about you guys?
We feel pretty good. Or at least we're gonna pretend that we do. This is also a reminder, folks, that today's show is a good reminder for you guys to get involved in the Notre Dame game. If you do plan on going, to check out GameDayExcursions.com. Use the coupon code WarChant for a $10 discount. I don't know about Corey, but I'm trying to feel a little more optimistic. But Corey, just walk us through some of the good times from the Miami game, because we might need to think about the good old days when the toe meets leather at 3:30 on Saturday. You spoke about it a little bit. You've been to so many of them with your father and your family. Like, do you have a top three of your Miami game experiences?
Ooh, that's a good one. What's weird is when you brought up that stat about Florida State only beating one 10-win Miami team. Well, I went back through my memory, and on the flip side, Miami has beaten 9 10-win Florida State teams. So
you're not helping, Corey.
Well, so when the teams are really good, Miami usually found a way to win those games when they were both really good. And the one time that Florida State did in 1989, Miami still won the national championship. So it was a weird rivalry that way. But as far as my personal preference, 1984 was a big one. That was 38-3. Gene, I can't imagine you were there for that one, but that was Jesse Hester with a 77-yard double reverse.
That was even before my time. I was still up in Illinois. I didn't move down to Florida at that point. My first year was 85 at FSU.
So
show off.
Yeah, there you go. So, but Gene, if your first year was 85, I think that my next favorite Miami game, just because I'm 30 years removed from it now, is that 87 game. I know they lost. I know it was heartbreaking, and it cost Florida State a national championship. But, man, there were so many great players on that field, and it was one of the best games I've ever seen. So that's up there, too. Were you at that, Gene?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I pretty much every one from 85 on, at least all the home games. That that's really when I kind of – realized Southern football. I'd only been down, a couple years, and to see just that atmosphere and what that was like, I mean, that was just unbelievable that afternoon. I think really the whole span, you talk about 87, that epic game, the way it went that way, and then 88 when you have the Seminole Rap and FSU goes down there, it gets the doors blown off, and then you come back, and like you mentioned, that I know you talked about before that, to me, the best game I've ever been to is that 1989 game. That was just unbelievable. That place was electric. You had I think Miami was number 1 or number 2 at the time. You had everything in that game. You had the big long run by Dexter Carter. You had a couple goal line stands. You had everybody remembers Dexter Carter putting that flag on Bernard Clark's head and that incensed look on his face. And everything you wanted was in that game, except for the fact, like you mentioned, Miami would go on to win the national championship in FSU, even though they won that game going away, had to sit there. And I think they finished number 2 that year.
Yeah, because they lost the 2 games at the beginning of the year. If they had found a way to beat Southern Miss, Florida State wins the national championship that year. But old Brett Favre stole another national title from Florida State.
Hey,
well,
Gene,
that's the thing too. If they had the playoffs back then, yeah. I'm curious, Corey, how many national championships have they had playoffs during that run that Miami would usually cost them because of the wide rights or what happened at 87? How many more national championships do you think they'd have?
I think at least 2 or 3 for sure. I think 87 they were the best team in the country. Yeah. I think 92 they were the best team in the country at the end. 89 they were the best team in the country, in my opinion, at the end. In 91, they lost that wide right game, and then they lost the next game to Florida, but their hearts were broken when they played that game because of that wide right. And I think if they knew there was the playoff out there after that loss, they would have rallied up and beaten that Florida team and then maybe played for a championship that year too. So I think, in all honesty, people talk about Nick Saban and what he's done, and it's incredible. But he's also had the benefit of playing rematches and national championship games before the playoff. And then these last 3 or 4 years, they'll lose a game but always get in the playoffs anyway. Florida State didn't have that luxury, and they were always losing to these incredible Miami teams in the final few seconds.
But I may disagree with you a little bit on 91, only because that wasn't that the year they played LSU in that deluge and they like had half the offensive line get hurt. I think they were really kind of banged up by the end of the year, which is one of the reasons why I think they lost those last couple games.
Yeah, I know Mancini got hurt and somebody else got. Yeah, they were it was a mash unit on the offensive line, but they did have a week off. What a weird schedule. They played Miami the second last game of the season, and then they had a week off, their only bye, and then played Florida. I think maybe those guys come back if they know a playoff spot is on the line, and they come back, and then they regroup for 3 or 4 weeks later and make another run at it. It's hard to say, but I think 87, 89, and 92 for sure are teams that could have and probably would have won the national championship.
Let me ask you guys this question. Maybe I'll start off with Gene, since you migrated down here from Lumley, Illinois. What moment or when did you realize Miami fans were the way they were and they're just absolutely terrible human beings by and large?
It really wasn't for a while because I didn't my first game down there, I think, was 96. I'd go all the games at home, and I did notice the bandwagon nature of it a little bit. When they weren't doing as well, they wouldn't bring as many up. But I do remember those obnoxious Hurricane fans that used to wave in the end zone, and the obnoxious bird they'd have running around when he would pull his beaks both directions. I found that really annoying. But it really wasn't until I went down there in 96. And I don't know, Aslan, if you ever got to go to the old Orange Bowl, and I know Corey's been down there. And that was quite the experience, because when you drive in, you go through Little Havana to get your way in there. And for a kid growing up in the suburbs, that was a little bit of a shock. And I remember my first time walking in to the old Orange Bowl, and I'm hearing this commotion. And I look over, there's a Miami fan who, looks like right out of a gang, holding a broken beer bottle, threatening FSU fans as they're walking in the door. I mean, just randomly, just going after him, like putting a broken beer bottle up to them and screaming profanities at him. So I knew at that point, okay, these guys are a little different down here in terms of fandom.
Yeah, my buddy actually went to the 2002 to the 2002 game down at the Orange Bowl, the whole Greg Jones running crazy. And I'm like, there's absolutely no way I'm going down there because Florida State's going to get annihilated. Because up to that point, I think they lost to Louisville a few weeks before, maybe the actual week before. So I'm like, I'll pass on that. And I remember watching that game from Tallahassee with a bunch of my buddies. I'm like, man, we should all be down there right now. And then as soon as that kick sailed wide of the goalpost, I'm like, okay, glad we're not there, because it would have been awful. That was with the whole trainer running over to poor Beitia as he's so I'm glad I missed that one.
I was standing on the sideline just a few yards away from that, the kid with the big ears that went up. And,
But tell me that
on that play, and that was memorable. That was one of those ones. I mean, it's similar. I think that we talked about that in the War Chant report. FSU was almost a 2-touchdown underdog in that game, and Greg Jones ran all over, absolutely emasculated the Miami defense in that game. And, it'll go down as Chris Ricks lost to him, 12 times or how many times he lost to Miami. But I remember that last drive, he actually drove Florida State down the field and put them in a position to win that game. And
he did.
He had the chance to get that monkey off his back, and nobody remembers that. But he had an incredible, he was throwing his body around and doing all kinds of everything he could to move that ball down the field. And it just, again, with a kick, was not meant to be.
Well, that image of, if you want to talk about Miami fandom in one image, it's that idiot trainer hopping and dancing around a kid that just missed a field goal and taunting him. That, if that doesn't sum up an entire fan base, then I don't know what else does. I mean, that's just crazy. And I think, to Larry Coker's credit, he was asked about it a few days later, and he said, yes, that person used to be a part of our program. So he saw the picture too and was, I assume, as horrified and stupefied as everyone else, and said, yeah, we don't need that. But imagine the balls on a trainer to go, or whatever he was, an equipment manager, to go dancing around like some Jersey Shore leprechaun all around this kid that just missed a kick. In the Florida State linemen, I know they were upset. Probably half of them, most of them didn't see it. If Darnell Dockett had seen that, it would have been worth him doing it, just for Darnell Dockett to see him doing it. But it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Corey, I love your descriptors, man. Jersey Shore leprechaun.
Well, that's what it was.
Corey, what about you, man? So you went to some of these games when you were younger. Did your dad have to give you a pep talk about these folks that we're dealing with are a little bit different than the other fans that we've come across?
You know, as a dad myself of a 10-year-old, I look back and like, Dad, what the hell were you thinking? Why would you take your son to the Orange Bowl when he's 9 years old? To be fair to him, 1984 Miami, they had just won the national championship, but the fans weren't like, say, 2002 Miami fans. It wasn't. I think it was an afternoon game. I don't remember anything extraordinary happening in the stands. Maybe it's because they lost 38-3. But I do remember the next time I went was 1990, maybe. Yeah, the Dawsey game. They were down 24-0, and Dawsey had a crazy game. But that's when I realized, like, oh, man, this is kind of rough. Like, this is rough for a 15-year-old kid to be dealing with this stuff and being told these things. I think I wore a shirt, by the way, that year that said, you know, state champs, 1989 state champs, national champs, ? Because Florida State, obviously, the year before had beaten Miami and Florida, but still didn't win the national championship. So I got a few remarks about that. And before that, I was always just like the kid with the old people at the games. Well, now I was big enough where the college kids could kind of say stuff to me and not feel too bad about it. So since then, like the 90 game, 92 is when I was like, all right, this isn't a fun thing to do. And I went to all of them, and I think 96 was my last game down there with my dad. And then I've been there, you know, the last decade as a sports writer. But yeah, I think early 90s to me is when it really flipped, and it was kind of rude, kind of a rude atmosphere there in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. Well, the good news, I guess I can say, is that I'm 2-0 in the last Miami games. Am I 2-0 in the last two that I've been to? No, I'm 2-1. But the last game I went and covered as a member of the working media was the 2005 game, the whole muff at Doak. Again, when Drew Weatherford lit up the nation and showed everybody his golden arm. So we got that going for us. Gene, you have any words of wisdom to impart on the fan base as we hunker down and get ready for the game on Saturday? Your thoughts on it?
Just the fact that the most glorious thing to think about rivalries, there's two ways to really get at your rival. I think one of them is when you seemingly lost a game and you come back and you win, or in the case of the choke and Doak, you come back and tie. Like Florida State did down there with Jameis Winston in 2014, because you want to just see about giving a team hope and then pulling it away from them. And the other thing is when you're a big underdog, if you're able to go in and upset Miami, if Florida State were to pull this one off, it would absolutely ruin Miami's season. It would really strike a dagger into the U. So, I mean, there is some upside there. Florida State loses. We're expected to lose, so probably wouldn't be as bad. I think, like I said in the War Chant report, you just want to avoid a blowout, keep it close, and you never know.
How about this, Corey? You and Gene both can maybe answer this. Maybe it'll be a consensus answer. If fill in the blank here. If Florida State beats Miami, it will be the biggest upset win since.
For Florida State, you're talking about?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like ACC title game against Virginia Tech. What was it, 05? Like the first ever ACC championship game in Jacksonville, where I think it was 2005. Like that was a game that me and all my friends were expecting to lose that one big to Virginia Tech, and then sure enough, we win it. We go to the Orange Bowl and play Joe Pa and Penn State. But I'm trying to think, because this would be a pretty big one in terms of the historical significance of an upset, I would think, right?
Yeah, just the point spread. I don't know when the last time they were underdogs by this much and won. I mean, when was the last time they were an underdog by this much? Period.
What, Matty Ice, maybe Boston College game?
I was going to say
that's what I was thinking. Is that 2007? Was that it?
Yeah, that was 07. Yeah. They went down there in 2010, and I believe Miami was like 15th in the country, and Florida State was not, and they put a thumping on them. In Jimbo's first year. I don't know what the point spread was, but I know Florida State was an underdog, and I don't think people thought Florida State was going to get crushed, but Miami was the favorite, and nobody was expecting Florida State to win by 4 touchdowns. So that comes to mind, I guess. But other than that, I mean, the beauty for Florida State fans listening to this is you're not underdogs a lot. And when you are, you're not 2 touchdown underdogs. So there there aren't many upsets to think of because, quite frankly, when you win games, it's not an upset normally. So this would be, just with the point spread, it would be one of the bigger ones. And I don't think they were 12 or 13-point underdogs against Virginia Tech either. So if they won this game, I think you'd have to go back a long way to figure out a time where they pulled off this kind of upset.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, soon enough, we shall find out. Hey, Gene, thanks so much for your time, man. We know you're super busy. Thanks for coming out this week, also hanging out at practice. He wakes up early in the morning, too, folks, just like you. He puts his pants on one leg at a time. Let's step aside.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
you guys have a good one. Safe travels to Miami.
Definitely, Gene. All right, let's step aside for a quick break. We'll be right back with more Wake Up War Chant right after this.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
You know, I want to talk about my favorite Miami game memory, but I think we had a lot of memory lane today, so maybe I'll save it for tomorrow during Phone Call Friday, 850-792-5730, 850-792-5730, just so I can get involved in the conversation. You folks, though, set the tone, set the table, set the agenda. It's Renegade Express. Play the pony. All right, we start off with this one, Corey. Bimini bound, over, under. How many times Miami fans throw trash on their own field? He didn't give us a number. I will just say 1.5.
What, pieces of trash?
Well, I think maybe stoppages and
because
play.
they've thrown trash on the field. It's an afternoon game.
I keep for some reason I think that
so. I think it might be a little. If they lose, I'm going to say under.
Okay.
Because it's an afternoon game.
All right. Ban 141. Wake up! LSU absolutely mauled Miami on the line of scrimmage. This gives me a glimmer of hope going into this game.
I mean,
do you think with the addition of Dickerson and Cam's ability to pick up the blitz, we'll be able to keep DeAndre out of the injury tent? After the 16 game, I'm worried about his safety. We ran Cam and Patrick a little better between the tackles versus Louisville. Do you think we can have success doing this versus Miami because the lateral game will fail? Love the show. Keep up the excellent work.
The lateral game will fail. I agree with that. I don't know about – and that's, again, it's hard. They don't block well out there. Yeah. They did have some success. It was, moderate, but they did have some success between the tackles, I thought, on Saturday. But, again, it's a prove it to me. I can't believe that that's going to happen until they prove that it can happen. Yeah. So, you hope it does, but I've seen nothing through 5 games that tells me the 6th game is when they turn it on and get a running game going. Right. But Cam Akers did do a good job of blocking for the most part.
Yeah, it's my dog. Absent the lack of...
I wish they got him involved in the passing game a little bit more, quite honestly.
Do some wheel routes, man. Let's roll my guy out
Or just a
there,
screen.
Man.
Get him the ball in space. He hasn't had it all year. He hasn't had the ball in space. And part of your job as a coach and a coordinator is to get your best players the ball with a chance to succeed. Yeah. Get him the ball out there one-on-one with the linebacker and see what he can do.
Yeah, he's not going to run by him. He's just going to put his shoulder down and get like an extra 4 yards, but still at this point,
you're allowed to make somebody miss and make a 6-yard screen pass turn into a 30-yarder.
Yeah. Outside of the absence of slants, the one thing that surprised me is like the lack of the actual tunnel screen, right? They've run some screens.
They ran that thing to perfection on Saturday. Their first touchdown, that was beautiful. You would have scored on that.
Yeah. Because I like the screens when the receiver's running back to the quarterback, like right from the snap, instead of just sitting there and like turning to each other and they just throw. It's like, no, it takes too much time to develop. But like when the receiver's actually running head of steam, like back towards the quarterback, catches it, and then is able to kind of get upfield, like give these guys some forward momentum, man. I like that sort of stuff. All right, R. Walling. I assume N'Kosi Perry will be making a second start this weekend. He will be. Is this guy the second coming of Gino Torretta or something? So I'm to believe we have little shot to win the game, hence the 13-point line. If Malik Rozier was the starter, would we have a better chance? Yeah,
Probably, I think so. Well, I don't know though, man. This kid hasn't been in a moment like this, and we'll see how he responds to the, even the home crowd. You feel that energy too, and that can mess with kids even when they're at home trying to make the big play, and so we'll see how he handles it. Obviously, it's his first time he's been in this kind of fire.
He says, "Who says that Perry is that much better than Rozier?" I'm going to say his name like 20 million different variations. Rozier. He's never played against a team with talented personnel on defense. That's Perry. Pop him one time like we did Kaya, and I bet he runs for cover. I don't see Miami scoring more than 20 on our defense. I can agree with the sentiment of that. I think they're going to score more than 20. I mean, I don't see this being maybe 20.
I mean, they just got to figure out the back end. That was again. Yeah. That they gave up 24 to a bad Louisville offense, and you got to assume Miami's better than Louisville on offense, and they're not going to miss so many open guys. So you don't need to have that many open guys.
Who do you think is a better coach, though? Like, if you had to have a guy coordinate a game for like an offensive game plan for one game, would you want Petrino or Richt?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I think Richt has more to work with, maybe, especially at the quarterback position. But I don't know. It's right. It's Perry, right?
Yeah, the coach.
He's completely unproven. He played. Who did he play? Florida International and North Carolina, where he was gifted literally three defensive touchdowns. Yeah. He's never felt game pressure.
And they didn't even earn I feel like they didn't even really earn the turnovers. They were just abject, horrible passes and just putting the ball on the ground.
But he hasn't felt game pressure. And if his first game pressure is in a Florida State-Miami game, we'll see how we can respond. And nobody knows yet.
Yeah. Moving along, Krupster. Morning, fellas. Krupster.
Krupp.
Morning, fellas. Nice work on the show. Perfect for the morning drive to work. Two things. One, Miami, quotes around the word fans. Miami fans are degenerates. Don't ever forget that.
Nope.
Two, quit watching those half rear-ended ACC game cut-ups. Follow Cinefunk on Twitter. Need a little more Miami hate, but good work. Carry on. Mike.
Well, we do our best.
Yeah, I'll give you a little Miami hate tomorrow. I'll talk about my experience that helped sort of shape, by and large, the way I feel about them. FSU Guy 1989 says, "Hey, guys, love the show and love you both."
Oh, there you go. Thank you, man.
Thanks.
A lot of love on this show.
Thanks, man.
Except when you're ripping somebody that leaves a comment.
I appreciate that, FSU Guy, man. Man, when they tell you love you, man, it just...
If people are curious, Aslan is legitimately hitting his chest when he's doing it. All
right. I just want to say that I really appreciate both the yin-yang from you two. I tend to be on the Aslan emotional spectrum. Sorry, man. Because I can go from, we are going to blow you out, to we will never win a game ever again. This is why I really appreciate Corey's calm and reassuring demeanor. Mm-hmm. He's not always positive, but is always truthful.
Try to be.
Put that on the tombstone, damn it. Anyway, what do you think the line would be against Clemson if we beat Miami versus if we lose to Miami?
I don't know that it will. I guess it would matter. I'm going to put that Clemson spread at 14 or so. I think it'd be again, you're Florida State, a home underdog by that many points would be probably Tebow, Florida. Would be the last time I could imagine anything close to that. So it's going to be double digits either way. I imagine, unless Florida State just looks incredible the next two games.
My phone crashed.
Uh-oh.
Getting back there. The next question I know is coming from our guy up in the East Village, Manhattan, New York City, New York.
Gibby.
Can you believe our friendship started over him just wanting to absolutely just take us to the woodshed over
the dance-a-thon, right?
The dance marathon.
Like we were saying they shouldn't raise money for cancer. Take that somewhere else, kids.
We're trying to win some ACC games here on the hardwood, yo. All right, gentlemen, thank you both for the birthday wish last week. Yeah, it was his birthday. Remember, turned 27.
The big 27.
Big 27.
That's how old Janis Joplin was when she died. Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain. I think there's another one in there too.
Otis Redding was 25. I think
Otis Redding was 26.
Yeah.
I think Amy Winehouse might have been 26 or 27.
All right.
And John Lennon.
All right. Jeez, it's awesome. Corey knows just.
Well, not John Lennon, because that would have meant he was 9 when the Beatles first hit. So I was joking there. But all the other ones were 26 or 27.
You got to let me know when you're going to set me up, Corey.
Sorry, man.
PSA for all my fellow Knowles who will be at Doak South with me on Saturday. We'll actually be down there too, Maxwell. Maybe give us a holler. Wherever you do, everybody, This is all caps. Do not give in to temptation and fight any of the hurricane garbage. As annoying as they are and deserve to have the bleep knocked out of them, it's not worth spending the night in Dade County Jail and have to worry about this getting removed from your record. If Florida State somehow wins...
Was he saying that from experience, do you think?
I think he probably's got some... I think Maxwell... I think he's the guy that he slips out before the riffraff shows up.
Oh, all right. It just sounded like that was from experience.
I think he's probably got some friends that might have got busted up, but he knows to get out of there before the fuzz shows up. If Florida State somehow were to win this game, can we get Aslan to record a parody song of In My Feelings by Drake, since we'll most likely never get to hear the famous love song he made? Sure.
Yeah, we're never going to find that, huh? We're never going to get to hear the what you sang to the girl?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I can. We'll do some sort of parody song or something.
Did so you played it for her?
I did
or
not
you
play
gave
it
it
for
to
her.
her?
I mailed it to her.
And I think I told you that week. I can't remember what Tim Linnefelt did. Because he did something similar, but he actually went to the girl's house and played her the song in front of her.
T. Lynn.
I know, man. Can you imagine just the awkwardness?
But, you just, nothing.
Unless she's completely in love with you, then it's like, all right, well, that's cool. But if she's just, wanting to be in the friend zone and then she's got a dude singing her a song, or in your case, sending her a crazy tape of a song holy moly. Women really do have it rough, and that's not being sarcastic. I know it comes off as flippant, but, man, what you guys have to put up with men.
Oh, yeah, attractive, handsome, intelligent men throwing themselves at them. What a horrible way to have to deal with things.
Well, most men are creepy as F.
I'm not, though. Yeah, you're right. We have empathy for our female listeners. Noelmaker.
We need to get it together as a gender. Anyway, go ahead.
Noelmaker. Can we exchange the backpack for a scalp? Maybe a black wig this week.
I don't know about the black wig, but definitely it would be weird if they.
Was it Al Snow? Or who was was it Al Snow in the WWF that carried a mannequin head?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that'll be our thing, and we can do that.
Oh, scalp. He said a scalp. Oh, I got you. I was thinking of a tomahawk for some reason. Yeah, a scalp wouldn't be bad. I guess. It's kind of gruesome.
Yeah. It's just, it's not going to happen, everybody. And I felt a little bit bad. I saw the retweet, or not the retweet, but I think Ira, did you sit on the teleconference yesterday, or was that Ira?
Not me. No, of course. It wasn't
Ira.
Me.
I guess the whole thing is Miami's gone ahead and called the turnover bag a purse.
A purse or a Dora backpack.
The Dora backpack. So, I think I know Dontavius got asked about it. What do you think when you hear them call that? He's like, listen, man, we like it. That's all we care about. And okay, good for you. Good job. And again, I don't mean to say that flippantly about Dontavius Jackson. I just think, obviously he was given an answer to give to us because they were bracing for us asking that question. But even in the ACC teleconference, they asked Willie about, I guess your thoughts on when you hear Miami mock you guys about that. And I think he even says something like, listen, he's like, we don't care. He's like, our own fans picked at us about that. And part of me was like, I don't know if that's Willie being self-deprecating, or it's kind of like, yeah, this is what I'm dealing with right now, everybody.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
It's a circling firing
Does
squad.
it have to be blind loyalty?
Yeah.
If Florida State fans don't like the backpack, they're allowed to say, hey, we love you guys. We're going to show up and cheer. You're our favorite team. But the backpack is stupid. Yeah. Florida State fans are allowed to have an opinion like that. It doesn't make them bad fans. It makes them fans with eyesight, fans with
functioning brains,
functioning IQs, functioning intellect. It's just not great. But it's fine if it's y'all's thing. Do whatever you want, man. It could be a bowling ball. Whatever y'all want to do, it's fine. It's y'all's thing. But don't ask everybody to just. And I don't think he's doing that. I don't think he's doing that, but I don't think it makes Florida State fans bad fans for not liking it. Yeah. I just don't.
If it was cool, we'd all get behind it. My favorite thing was
when
people are why do you care about it, man? It's not for you. It's for the players. Okay, well then they can go play at Leon High, and none of us will watch or care about it. If it's just for the kids, they can go play without TV cameras and without everybody cheering their name and without staying in a nice hotel and being on a private charter plane and all that sort of stuff.
You know what I'm interested in is when are they going to incorporate it on the video board at Doak?
Right.
Like the next time they get a turnover, will it say secure that bag and show the backpack being hoisted on the kid? Or
at Hauser they have the bongo cam where they'll put the bongos on the jumbotron. They'll put it on the crowd, and the crowd will air drum bongos. I wonder if there's going to be some sort of like backpack cam where they'll
Oh,
maybe,
and somebody will hunch over and his buddy will act like he's putting a backpack on it? Okay, I see that working.
Maybe do
all right,
that.
we're all going to be securing the bag.
Secure the bag.
It is funny that they called it a purse and a door backpack.
I mean, but come on, though. No one wears a purse. Like, it's a backpack. It's not a purse. It's a backpack. Come on.
Yeah, it's a satchel, right?
It's a backpack, man. It's on your back. It's got 2 straps.
What do they call a man purse?
Yeah, a satchel.
Is that what it's called, a satchel?
Yeah, but that's usually like, no offense, it's kind of like what you have. Like your leather bound.
Well, that's a laptop case.
But it's satchelish.
It is satchelish, yeah. I would say it's a purse.
It's a merce. It's a merce. It's a man purse. Enol_2000. Wake up, gents. In the spirit of Miami week, wake the bleepity bleep up. Quick question. Willie knows you're allowed to go under center at least every now and then, right?
Apparently not.
It would make those 3rd and shorts a tad bit easier. I feel like
4th and an inch.
Yeah, I held my breath on the 4th and 1.
Well, everybody was. It's ridiculous.
Oh, no. I feel like if they can bust out the black uniforms for a game, then they can at least humor us with 1 or 2 under centers this season. That's only fair, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I think Florida State fans should have some sort of pledge, sign some petition that they will get behind the backpack 100%. If on 4th and an inch you get your ass under center and sneak it, instead of snapping it 6 yards deep when you need an inch.
Yeah. This reminds me of something, and I'm gonna botch it like I usually do. I think it usually happens in basketball games at the end of a game when a team is up by 3. I think a lot of times people say you should foul.
Right.
Send them to the line, make them hit the free throws. And my buddy,
they can't tie the game with one shot.
Yeah,
That's the upshot.
My buddy who played ball at Columbia, Dallin Cuff, who was actually on the program with us earlier in the year when we had March Madness. He's with ESPN now. His comment was like, listen, everyone says that, but some teams just don't practice that. Like some teams don't practice fouling the 3-point shot, so just you do what you trust what you do. And I think that's what happens when you get to these 4th and 1 things. Like they're so focused on running the ball, read option stuff, the mesh point, all that kind of stuff that going under center and practicing that stuff is just taking away time and reps that they could be working on what they run their offense out of, which is exclusively the shotgun. I mean, I don't agree with it, but that's their whole thing is that's why they're not going to do it, because they're not going to practice because they don't want to practice.
Instead of that horrific ball security drill we saw last week on video floating around on social media.
Tap, tap.
Tap, tap. Not even going to try to knock it out of your hands, even though you lead the country in fumbles. I'm not going to even try to do that. Instead of wasting a period on that, waste a period on QB sneaking it from under center. I mean, you don't have to do every – in fact, Florida State's winning streak, Florida State would not have been in the 2014 football playoff if Clemson had gone under center at the Florida State 1-yard line with the Deshaun Watson game. If they had just gone under center and QB sneaked it in the end zone, Florida State does not win that game, and they do not play against Oregon, so I guess it wouldn't have been a total loss. They wouldn't have been in the ACC championship game, though, because of that one play. But they decided to snap it from the shotgun, even though they won, went over the kid's head. They missed a field goal. They didn't get any points at all, and Florida State won that game in overtime. It just, I know that's what they do. It just, when you need an inch at a crucial part of the game, QB sneaks. Jimbo's right. QB sneaks by the goal line can be difficult. Mm-hmm. QB sneaks at the 45 when there's a threat that you could call something else. They are not difficult. All you need is a little smidgen of a push, and you get the first down.
Minute? Were you going for minute?
Well, I think I was about to say a word that we don't say anymore.
Okay.
For little people. And I don't understand why that would have even come out. It didn't even fit the context of what I was saying. I guess I just haven't said it in a while. I was trying to.
Maybe we should make a game show like Win, Lose, or Draw. I love Win, Lose, or Draw. It's one of my favorite shows.
Burt Reynolds, I think, either produced that or was that. I think that was his show. Sometimes they did it from his house.
Oh, yeah. But like you just give somebody a word, like almost like charades, but you can only do the first to and you're trying to guess. My new show. Minute.
Yeah.
It would probably last one episode. NYC Noel. Hey guys, good show. Gets me through my daily commute. I got to say, I don't have a good feeling about the Noles beating the Canes this week. Because of this, every time I see Jimbo on television, I want to put my fist through the screen. The last couple of games is just a huge reminder on what poor shape he left us in. Am I wrong?
No, and USA Today came out on Wednesday with all the coaches' salaries, and I think he's second in the country or third, but his buyout is twice as much as anybody else's buyout. His buyout right now is $68 million. That's Urban's is like 35.
Because they don't have as many years left on their contracts. I mean, his contract is new.
Still, that's a crazy buyout. Good for him, man. He did it. He secured the bag for sure. But he did not leave the program in great shape, and we knew that last year when they were 3-6.
I don't know. I mean, I usually just kind of get up and just sort of touch the screen and just wonder if he knows that there's some people that still miss him. I mean, it's just like, I don't know.
The guy that wasn't here for any of it.
Like, was this a master plan of his? I mean, that's where I come to on this.
Oh,
thing.
no.
He set this all. Like, I'm gonna leave them, and Andy Miller and Seminole Boosters will really know my greatness when I leave them this turd of a team in 18.
I think the appeal.
And they're not a turd of a team.
The allure of this staying here, he knew what this team was. He knew what his program had turned into. Under his watch, because of him, his program had turned into a soft football team. Then again, he's having to get to sign promise notes, and they get blowout once or twice a year, even with all that talent. And I think if he had even like the 2012 team coming back, I don't think he goes to A&M no matter how much money they offer him. I think the fact that he knew what this team was, what it was going to be, how much he had screwed up the program. And it's just he left it in a bad shape. He knew what shape it was. He knows football better than any of us, and he knows these kids better than any of us. He was there on the sidelines and in practice every day for 11 weeks. And if he checked out in September, which people think he did, it was much easier for him to leave this team than when say Texas came calling.
Yeah. He
knew he had Jameis for at least another year, and he thought he was going to have Jameis in 15 too. So you're not leaving that. But you'll leave old Francois and Blackman.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it. So yeah, people should be mad at Jimbo. That doesn't give Willie. He's not off the hook. Like, it's Willie's program now. These are Willie's wins and Willie's losses. So they're not Jimbo's anymore. But he's got to clean up a little bit of the mess that was left. He's got to clean up the mess. Period.
Stringer Walt Bell, good name.
That is a great name.
Wake up. This is Alex from Orlando.
No, you're Stringer.
Yeah, Stringer. Love the show, gentlemen. I think you guys should consider doing this sort of stuff for a living. Null talk. I know it's 5 weeks into the season, plus spring and fall practice, but do you think it's possible the coaching staff is still learning their personnel? Thanks. Keep up the good work, guys. Yeah, I think Harlan Barnett almost said as much.
He said that kind of. We didn't even talk about it at all, but we talked to Barnett, and he said that they. I think he even used the phrase they might need to dumb it down a little bit with what they're doing defensively. Willie, that was his phrase. That's not me saying that. He said they just got to simplify things, but then he said dumb it down. Willie had said that they got to figure out what they can do and what they can't do. So there's some things there where when they blitz on certain, they have certain packages where they blitz. Somebody's supposed to be in the middle of the field that isn't. They're not communicating. It's not getting through. They're having mental lapses. So that's the stuff. Maybe it's too much. And he said that much. He said maybe they expanded too early as far as what they can do defensively, and they need to pull it back a little bit and make it a little simpler.
Yeah, he was also mentioning, maybe not getting to the quarterback as much as people want is too much air between the offensive line and whoever's blitzing or whoever's attacking the quarterback. They need to maybe take a little bit of a better techniques, better path to the quarterback.
I tell you, their blitzes, they do get there.
I liked it. It was beautiful to see it just wide, straight down the freaking.
The one thing I haven't understood that hasn't worked at all so far for me, maybe it has, and I just haven't seen it. Sometimes Burns will just basically stunt inside, like do a big loop-de-loop and come up the middle. It looks to me like every time he does that, he just runs into two linemen and takes himself completely out of the play.
I think it's almost like a breather for him. It's like keep him on the field so they have to account for him, but like he doesn't have to kill himself.
Right. He had to have to speed rush the 80th play in a row.
I mean, didn't Mark Snyder tell us that, like, in all honesty, he only has he can do 4 of them, and then he needs a break?
Yeah. Well, that's right. He said that, and then he never comes off the field. He's on the field for 99% of the plays.
Yeah. And then I feel like there's such a weird, I wish we had like another, or I wish we had like a mixer. Like the coaches and all of us just went out and had like a couple beers, like no recorders, everything's off the record.
Just with the war chant guys, though.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're the ones.
We don't need the other guys.
I'm sure they're all capable, competent, friendly people. They all are.
Don't say that.
But like, I asked, because I was just trying to just stall and keep him around. But I asked Harlan Barnett just about, like, looks like, I didn't reference Pro Football Focus. By the way, I called them Pro Football Talk earlier this week. I mean Pro Football Focus.
Right. PFF, baby. PFF.
But I was like, hey, Jaden Woodby, Levante Taylor. Like, is it me, or did those guys not even get off the field? And he was like, well, if you ask them, they probably will say they didn't come off the field. He said, but we need to do a better job of rotating guys in and getting them off. And I'm like, well, I wasn't saying that. Like, I was not at any point, Coach. I'm not trying to tell you that you need to give those guys a break. I was just almost seeing if you would speak to their greatness or just how important they are to your overall success. But yeah, it was just funny because I thought he thought I was coming at him because he had a couple strategy questions thrown at him about like, hey, do you think you're struggling this and you're not? What about doing this personnel matching? So I think he was maybe a little bit kind of on the defensive, and it's like, no, Coach Barnett, I like you, man. Fast, physical, and aggressive. That's how we roll. Not.com. All of his O's or zeros. Okay. Serious question that needs to be answered. As a paying member of War Chant, why am I ruthlessly subjected to advertisements with so much motion? They make it so that the site is almost unreadable. Y'all spend lots of time writing good, thoughtful content and then make it hard to digest. Thankfully, I'm not epileptic, or you may have a lawsuit on your hands. Aslan, as the director of digital media, can you please do something?
Can you, Aslan? Can you do something about that?
A little above my pay grade, buddy.
We don't have a ton of ads. I mean, I know we don't have any ads. Like, the biggest problem that I had, well, not the biggest, but one of the problems I had where I used to work and just newspapers in general is it's hard to know when a story is over because there'll be an ad in the middle. Right. There'll be an ad 2/3 down. And you're like, okay, is that the end of the story? I have to scroll down. No, it keeps going. And I've never, not once in my life, literally, and I've been reading stories on the internet now for, 20 years?
Yeah, at least.
Have I clicked on an ad in the middle of a story?
Yeah,
man, look at this. Look at what
I do need some new Swiffer. The new Swiffers are out? Let me see what these are about.
Oh, man, look at those socks. Okay. I need some Bounty.
So, yeah, not.com. Again, it's above my pay grade. I don't control the ads. I think that's mainly Yahoo, so it's nobody on our end. But
we appreciate the subscription. We promise we do. And we don't put them in the – at least I don't think we put them in the middle of the stories. They're not there in the middle of the stories. So just, don't look at the side of the screen. Just concentrate on that sweet stuff in the middle. Said that a few times in my life.
Oh, hey-oh. This is the last one, it looks like. A very brief one. Seminole Mike 1, who obviously his name is really Matt, but keep blowing his cover. Yo, dudes. So clearly they know how to set up a press box at Papa Cardinal Stadium. Right. How far behind are we at Florida State in this area? Should this be included in the current funding drive? And what do you expect at Miami this week? Rotten egg salad. Go Noles.
Yeah, they don't. Mostly Miami, you need to go out in the concourse and pay.
I heard that they actually charge sometimes inside the press box. That's ridiculous.
But it's just fine, though. It's like, all right, they don't owe us anything. And I always say that about Doak. Like, no, the food there is awful for press members, but who cares? Eat beforehand. Like, they don't have to give us free food. Cardinal Stadium, though, oh, boy, they had a carving station with a prime rib. They had salad with all the fixings. They had chicken parm. And as I was hacking out my story at 8:30 on Saturday night, Louisville SID comes over and asks me if I want a Miller Lite, hands me a beer. So, again, I don't know what they're doing at Doak, but we certainly know they can step up their game. We certainly know that. But the wireless was a disaster for the first half there. So it counterbalanced a little bit.
Yeah.
The food.
The food was bad in 2005. It's still bad in 2018 at Doak Campbell Stadium for the press.
Yeah, it's not changing, and that's fine. It's not their job to feed us great food. Nobody was going to hear us complain about that.
They don't want to hear us complain, but it does. I mean, the bottom line is that we're there advocating on their behalf, and we're there for 6-7 hours. Like, give us a meal. Feed us like adults.
But what's cool is that they do put on the game notes what the meal will be.
Yes.
So at least you have a heads up of like, okay,
bring your peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, bring your own lunch.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's a wrap, Corey. We're done. We're going to do phone call Friday tomorrow. I'll talk about my least favorite Miami, vivid Miami memory. But I wanted to ask you before we run out of battery power on this bad boy. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but so we were all supposed to go together. You, I, and Ira down to Miami, but we didn't. We were talking about Ira and myself, how we're going to get back. And he's like, I don't know if I want to drive late at night. He's like, the one time I did have to drive really late at night back from Miami, I was with Corey. Oh, man. Can you...
Oh, do you want to hear that?
Can you talk about it, maybe?
So, So that was the pondering.
Because he didn't tell me. He didn't talk about it.
Was that really? Wow. I'm almost positive that. Yeah, it had to have been. That was the pondering the rain game. So 2008, and we're driving back. We get to the turnpike. We're on the turnpike. It's about 2 in the morning, and Ira just passes out, which is fine, except it literally sounded like somebody was just revving a chainsaw next to me for an hour and a half, nonstop. And you don't want to wake the guy up because he's sleeping and he never gets any sleep.
Yeah.
But it was nonstop in my ear for an hour and a half. So we get off the there's no hotels on the turnpike.
Right.
Really. So we have to get off it, and then what is it, Lake City right after that? Whatever that first exit is on 75 is when we pull off and get a hotel. But so it's like literally 3 o'clock in the morning. And we go to the lobby and we check in, and I said, hey, is my room next, because we got 2 rooms, is my room next to his? And she goes, oh, yeah, no, I can get you guys next to each other. I go, no, I was saying I don't want to be next to his. And he called me an expletive, and he's like, you dumb, but.
In the lobby?
Yeah, right there next to her. Even though I had just driven him 5 hours while he chainsawed in my ear for half of it, because he's a great car companion. And I'm like, no, man, I don't want to hear you. It's still ringing. Today, 10 years later, I still hear it. The car roof almost came off. So I didn't want to be next to him, and I was scared that I don't think I had my fan with me, so I was scared I was going to be hearing him next to me, and I just wasn't going to be able to sleep at all, and he was not real happy with that. So what was funny is the next day, he got out and he said he had a hard time sleeping, and he would catch himself snoring and try to be quiet because he knew I was in the next room. He didn't want to wake me up.
So
we still got the rooms right next to each other. I said, no, it'll be fine. I won't hear him. And I didn't hear him, but it was funny that he was so he was worried about it enough that he was hoping that he didn't keep me up that night.
Yeah, but he's just like, I don't know about driving that late at night, man. I don't want to create another
10 years ago.
Another chasm between myself and a coworker.
That's as loud. That's as mad as he's ever been, and that's as little as I could have cared. Because I was like, man, you didn't hear it. I'm going to record you next time.
Well, I
was crazy. I was starting to see things.
Yeah. Well, we came down from ACC kickoff. I took over the wheel like in North Georgia, and then he passed. But I just listened to some podcasts. That was fine. But there was
Did you have your headphones in too?
No.
Oh, all right.
I don't know if he was snoring or not. I don't remember all. You remember 10 years, and I don't remember.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Yes,
yeah.
He was snoring, and I snore too. I'm not judging people that snore. Yeah. I snore. We all snore. It was just really loud, and he wasn't leaning back. So he was just sitting up, and it was right there next to me. I couldn't hear the radio. I didn't want to turn it up too loud to wake him up, and then I had to sleep in the room next to him. The
one thing about having a girlfriend is she actually tells me that I do. Like I choke on my tongue. I'm like, it's bad. I need to get that worked on. It's probably why I'm always tired. I don't sleep well at night because I'm dying.
Because you're choking on your tongue each night.
Yeah, so I'm not sleeping well.
Better than choking on other things, I guess.
That's damn right. All right, buddies, all of you and ladies, talk to you tomorrow. It's Wake Up War Chant.
The Sod Cemetery, Osceola and Renegade, and of course, the War Chant. These are great traditions known to all Seminole fans. If you are a card-carrying, garnet and gold-wearing Nole, don't you deserve a site that is truly dedicated to covering FSU sports? WarChant.com's staff has over 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. WarChant.com is the only FSU outlet with a full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee. Plus, it's the only site with a full-time videographer and a daily podcast, 100% dedicated to FSU sports. Why act like Gators and settle for second best? WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.